Alright, looks like it's time for Uhm1t to address the haters. First, for those of you who accuse me of derailing or deflecting away from the quote-unquote real conversation, may I remind you who started this conversation? It was Pete. Let me tell you what he does. Maybe some of y'all don't know this, but me and him talk a lot on Messenger. And sometimes we'll chat for 2 or 3 hours at a time and never really disagree on anything. We actually agree on most of all the major stuff. So what's left for disagreement? The minor stuff. See, Pete'll take one little snippet of a private 2-hour conversation and bring it up in a video and act like that's all we talked about. Never mind the long hours we spend agreeing that black women, or at least some of them, don't like to give up control. And I agree with him, by the way. We talk about weight. We talk about what it's like being a black person growing up outside the quote-unquote black community. He tells me about some of his relationships. He tells me about experiences he says he's had with black women. I don't argue with him. But then again, like I said, we'll come up on this one bone of contention that we don't see eye to eye on, and that's the thing that he'll bring up in the video. And as if that's not bad enough, when he brings it up in the video, he'll say something that's kind of like what I said, but not quite. So then I have to come and correct him, and then he accuses me of deflecting the whole conversation. And I ain't got no lisp. We had a private conversation about what was causing the spike in IR for black men. I say it's because women of other races are more open to it, and he still ain't shot that down yet. But anyway, if he wanted to talk about the flaws of black women, then why didn't he just talk about the flaws of black women? Why did he bring that point up? He's the one who brought up the insignificant point in the middle of his important video. And he put my name in it. So I'm just supposed to sit there while somebody mentions me and says I said all sorts of crazy shit? Or says something close to what I said but not quite? If you're so concerned that I'm going to derail the conversation, why is you bringing up my name? Why is you bringing up private shit we talked about? If you make a video about black women and AIDS and them taking responsibility for contracting it, and then you bring up some conversation we had in private about how I read an article where some psycho was walking around jabbing black women with dirty AIDS needles and they were getting infected, and then you bring up in your video that I said that, making it seem like I'm saying that's the main reason black women have AIDS today, I have to come and defend myself. And when I do, you accuse me of derailing the whole conversation. You accuse me of trying to take responsibility off of black women for their infection rates. Me saying that the spike in IR dating and marriage for black men is due to women of other races being more open to it does not mean that I'm saying that there's nothing wrong with black women. Like I said, black women can be straight up demons, and black men can want to date out all they want, but if other women are not open to them, they can't do it. There's no way around that, Pete, and you're just too stubborn to admit that. In no way does that say or even imply that there's nothing wrong or black women don't have any problems. That's just a red herring you throw out there to take away from the fact that I'm right about the spike. And how am I denying shit when I make videos about it? Remember the submission videos? Remember the blameless mother video? Hell, I just made the push back video. I made a video about weight. I even made a video about black women being on bullshit about interracial dating. You guys are accusing me of dodging the issues, first of all, so you can discredit me and put me back with all the other black women you can't stand. And to a lesser extent because you don't want to admit that the spike is due to them being more open to you. If white men became more interested in black women, there'd be a spike in that too. No rocket science is necessary to figure that out. I have explained the spike. Why? Because Pete brought me up in the video, and y'all have yet to offer any counter arguments to what I said besides, "Oh, you're deflecting." Dude, I've made videos about this stuff. How am I deflecting exactly? Do you want me to send the links to my videos? Maybe I should put y'all a nice little playlist together so y'all can hear all the videos I've made to black women or women in general. But furthermore, you know where I stand on male leadership. You know that I agree with it. I ain't never said nothing different. So you can't say, well, you used to say this and now you're saying this. No, I've always agreed with male leadership. That's how I was raised, even though I was raised in a single-parent home. Next point. Marcus NHD and Uhm1t. Y'all were asking me why don't you address the issue, which is what Don Napoleon said about not giving up control to men, or maybe specifically black men. First of all, you know I believe in male leadership, so you will not force me to defend a position I don't hold. I have made several videos on submission, so what else do you want from me? Another reason I'm not going to jump into that Don Napoleon conversation is because I recognize class. Listening to that chick, she sound like a chick that got tattoos on her neck, got her kids' names tattooed on her arm, got a rose on her breast, and enjoys going off on people just to show them that she don't take no shit. See, she's from a certain class, and if you're not in that class, she's not in your dating pool. So she does not need to be addressed. You see, Lil Wayne, Plies, Soulja Boy, and even Waka Flocka, even though I think he's a nice looking guy, they're not in my dating pool because they're not in my class. So I don't need to complain that Plies likes busted babies, or that all of them sagged their pants and got ridiculous amounts of jewelry on. I don't need to complain that they got every inch of their body tatted up except for their face and hands. I don't need to complain about them having gone to jail, or that they got multiple baby mamas. They are irrelevant to me and my dating choices. If I do have a complaint, it's going to be about the men in my class and up. You see, 'cause those are the men I would be trying to get at, not Lil Wayne. So I don't need to talk about him at all. You see, I can look at two black men such as Lil Wayne and let's pick the Old Spice guy. Do you guys not have the ability to look at someone like Don Nicoleon and me, for example, and see that that's two totally different classes of women? Why are you talking about that ghetto chick who is probably incompatible with you far beyond what she said on that show? The way she eats is probably incompatible with you. And I mean as far as what's healthy and what's not. Her priorities in life are probably incompatible with you. Perhaps she's content to own an expensive car while living in the hood. Perhaps you want to save and invest and she wants to spend every dime that comes in the house. People of a lower class tend to want to do that. She's probably incompatible with you in the way she wants to raise children. She's probably incompatible with you in the sense that you can't take her to a nice dinner because she can't keep curse words out of her mouth. She don't even know how to use her indoor voice. She probably wouldn't know what fork to use and where to put her napkin, and that you don't start eating until the host starts eating. She would be just completely incompatible with you on damn near every level. Is it because she's black? No, it's her class. If you guys can't make your point without pointing to this over-the-top chick, then that makes you a bit suspect to me. That's like the same thing the white nationalists would do. They didn't want to talk to black people like me and Jack Doodle. They want to go talk to some ghetto fool. Somebody who's going to prove what they already believe. Guys, if you're not a typical black person, typical black people are going to be incompatible with you. So why even waste time addressing them? You need to address women like me and address the problems you have with me. I'm in your class. So no, I'm not going to comment on this Don Nicoleon situation. I'm not going to waste any more time addressing her than I would a man about sagging his pants. If somebody wants to sag their pants, that is his biz. I ain't going to be dating him. And second of all, it doesn't even make sense for you to address Don Nicoleon. You're actually not even making good points with her. Why? Because she's already married. She found a man who's willing to play by her rules. So what the fuck else can you say to her? She should do it like you because why? She's got a man. And you know, these overbearing women like this and even like Oprah, these women don't go single. There are plenty of men out there, and dare I say black men, who are willing to play second fiddle to a woman as long as she'll take care of them. I'm not saying Oprah is taking care of Stedman, so spare me. In fact, I have an aunt who's very domineering, and in fact she's the black power one who's got the half-white daughter. And she's been married twice. Both of those men were like her third child. So you guys really ain't got shit to say to these women. They are getting men. They can always find some weak-ass, spineless jellyfish that's willing to suck up behind their ass. Just as long as she provides them that meal ticket and some sex. And just in case you're wondering, there is no doubt in my mind that this woman is married. I see this all the time when I go to Memphis. These super strong-willed women with these weak-ass men. So you guys trying to use this chick to say, well, this is why I don't date black women or whatever. It's irrelevant. She does not need you. In fact, she's saying she doesn't want you. So what are you talking to her for? I'll tell you one more time. These are not the women who stay single. There are plenty of down-and-out, broke-down black men who got a bad shake in life or whatever happened to them, so they need support, so they're willing to play second fiddle to these domineering women. There ain't shit you can say to these women because they're getting what they want. They're getting men who are willing to bow down to them. I'll say this again. She is not in your class. It makes no more sense for you to address her than it does for me to address Plies about his busset babies. You know what's kind of funny now that I think about it? You guys want to laugh at black women who want to convince black men to stay with black women even though they've got a non-black woman who's perfect for them. But you want to argue with Don Nicoleon about how she should give up control to a man when she can find a man who will give up the control to her. And that's what she wants. So what platform do you even have to stand on to say that your way is better? You can't say she ain't got a man, so where's your argument come from? I mean, if this white girl, for example, is doing everything you want a woman to do, what argument can black women make to you that you need to get with a black woman? It's the same fucking thing. So you guys argued her down good and you won the battle, but she won the war because she's got a man and she's got things just how she wants it in her relationship. She runs things. So I am thoroughly unimpressed with this whole discussion, and I refuse to be a part of it. Call it deflection if you feel like it. But when you bring up my name and say I said X, Y, and Z, I'm going to be there. I'm going to defend myself, no matter how small you consider that point to be. You know where I stand on male leadership, so I don't need to chime in every time some ghetto chick has something to say. Oh, and Pete, before I go, I'm not worried about my looks or what you guys think of them. I'm already aware that because some of you don't like me, you're going to say I look worse than I actually do. I know some of you just aren't going to be into my features, so you're not going to like me anyway. But I know in general what men tend to think of my looks when they're not already biased by not liking me. And yes, I did used to have a YouTube channel where I showed my face, and I got comments from men all the time telling me I was hot. I get hit on in my inbox. Not by Jack Doodle or anything, but some other guys. And I'm not saying that the majority of men who saw my videos agreed with those statements that I was hot and all that, but I mean, I don't need the adoration of all men. I just want some attention, not all. And if worse comes to worse and I am ugly, I'm already married. He validates my beauty. So I already know some of you are going to slam me when I show my face, but I ain't worried about it. I'm not sensitive, I'm not thin-skinned. My looks were good enough to pull me the type of man that I wanted, so what some fools think of me on the internet, psh, you guys really give yourselves too much credit. And this is the arrogance I'm talking about. Jack, note this down. This is another one to put on your list. They think everybody cares about what they think. They think they validate or invalidate everybody's beauty. Alright, I'm out. If you need me, you know where I be.